Guess it ought to be said that I'd trade them all, plus the gal down the road for grandma's feather bed. I'd trade them all, plus the gal down the road.
Well, the best bed is the gal down the road.
It was 9 feet high and 6 feet wide and soft as a downy chick. It was made from the feathers of 11 geese. Took a whole bull to call for the tick. We didn't get much sleep, but we had a lot of fun on Grandma's feather bed. When I was a little bitty boy, just up off of the floor, we used to go down to Grandma's house every month end or so. We'd eat chicken pie and country ham and homemade butter on the bread. But the best darn thing about Grandma's house was a great big feather bed. It was 9 feet high and 6 feet wide and soft as a downy chick. It was made from the feathers of 11 geese and the whole bone the cloth for the tick. It didn't hold 8 kids and 4 hound dogs and a piggy we'd stolen from the shed. We didn't get much sleep, but we had a lot of fun on Grandma's feather bed. After supper we'd sit around.
And I'll do the great guitar duet, both parts, all by myself. Everybody else sing Love You. Check it out.
Out Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese was a separate company at that point. There was Chuck E. Cheese and there was Showbiz Pizza Place. And as badly as Showbiz Pizza Place was doing, Chuck E. Cheese was doing worse. Now, I can veto whatever I want, and I wanted to veto that. I wanted to find another way. So, Brock Hotel said, look, this is the only way. Nothing else is going to save us. So, you cannot veto this. That didn't mean necessarily the end of the Rocket Fire Explosion. They were still willing to keep the Rocket Fire Explosion in Showbiz Pizza Place. But the only way they were willing to keep the Rocket Fire Explosion was if I gave them the copyrights. And they could then have complete and total control and power over the characters. That meant they get to decide what the voices are, what the scripts are, what the music is. They get to program them themselves, everything they wanted to do. And I would have absolutely nothing to do about it and no say about it. But you got to realize, back then, I still felt like the Rocket Fire Explosion had a big future. Movies, cartoons. I wanted to go someplace else with the Rocket Fire Explosion besides pizza restaurants. I wasn't ready just to give it up. And besides, they didn't offer me a plug nickel for the copyrights. When I spoke to Gene Cram about this, who proposed to me that I give them the copyrights to the Rocket Fire Explosion, the trademarks, the copyrights, all ownership of the copyrights, he said, Aaron, what you get out of this is that your characters, Billy Bob, will live. They'll live on. But let me tell you something, if you don't accept this deal and if you don't give us your copyrights, your characters are going to die. We're going to get rid of them and we're going to replace them with Chuck E. Cheese. I said, okay, I'll take that challenge. I'll take that challenge. I will do something with those characters. And I will do it without you then. But I will not just give you those characters. My life, my blood, my voice, my heart, and believe me, all of the closest people in my lives, and that included all those men in the studio and women in the studio who helped me. Our lives depend on this. And I'm going to keep those characters, and we're going to do something with them.
So they went through what's called concept unification. And what it basically became was they took the Rockfire robots, left the animation, the animatronics, everything that was on the inside pretty much stayed intact. They just kind of rearranged the characters, slapped different cosmetics on them, and tried to pass it off as a completely different show.
And that was the beginning of the end in terms of the Rockafire being in Showbiz Pizza. And I think for a time they did actually still have the Rockafire in the stores, but after about 1990 they converted the concept over to Chuck E. Cheese, and that was that.
I would talk about the farm and the war, and my granny sing a ballad or two. I'd sit and listen and watch the fire till the cobwebs filled my head. Next thing I know, I'd wake up in the morning in the middle of the old feather bed. He was 9 feet high and 6 feet wide and soft as a downy chick. He was made from the feathers of 47 geese to the whole world.
I'm Billy Balls, and this is my sidekick, Looney Bird. Say hello, Looney.
Hello, Looney.
No, say hello to the people, Looney.
Hello to the people, Looney.
He'd hold 8 kids and 4 hound dogs, and a piggy we'd stolen from the shed. We didn't get much sleep, but we had a lot of fun. Grandma's had a bed.
Now that you're all warmed up, it's time for some dancing. Is everybody ready out there?
A little bit more dancing, maybe?
Подвійне життя – це коли